They had Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, everything to win. So how did DC still manage to fumble the whole universe? The DCEU started strong, but quickly spiraled into chaos. Let's break down how it all fell apart, step by step.
Loki's gonna keep this fight focused on us, and that's what we need. Without him, these things could run wild. We got Stark up top. He's gonna need us to...
Before everything went sideways, Dai had the upper hand. Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy was still fresh in everyone's mind. Animated movies like Under the Red Hood were killing it, and shows like Smallville proved DC could rule both big and small screens. But then Marvel changed the game. When the Avengers hit in 2012 and made over $1 billion, Warner Brothers panicked. They didn't want to fall behind, so instead of building up heroes one by one like Marvel, they hit fast forward. Enter Man of Steel in 2013. Directed by Zack Snyder, it reimagined Superman with a darker tone and more grounded realism. The film made $668 million. Not bad, but it split the fan base right down the middle. Some loved the new serious vibe. Others hated seeing Superman break necks and brood like Batman. Still, Man of Steel marked the beginning of the DCEU's ambitious, chaotic journey, one that never really found its footing.
Understand! There's no time!
I understand.
Now we're at a moment held in high regard by fans for decades. The ultimate superheroes getting onto the black screen. At the announcement, the internet nearly threw in the towel. Just about two of the most iconic heroes in popular culture were going to clash, and expectations were sky high. However, when Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice went into theaters, the response was complicated. Zack Snyder jetted along with that dark, gloomy tone. Some fans loved the ambitious themes and the bold steps taken, rejecting the hugely denounced Martha scene that instantly became a meme, whereas others just hated what they saw as too much. Wondering if they could introduce Wonder Woman, tease the Justice League, and throw in Doomsday all at once. Despite the hype, it earned $870 million. Solid, but not the billion-dollar juggernaut Warner Brothers was hoping for. Especially when Captain America: Civil War dropped just months later and cleared $1.15 billion with ease. It was clear Marvel had the formula, and DC was still trying to figure it out. After the BVS backlash, Warner Brothers went into full damage control. Next up was Suicide Squad, a gritty, villain-led team-up with serious potential. But mid-production, the studio panicked. They ordered major reshoots to make the film more fun, hoping to win back audiences with jokes and neon edits. What we got was a Frankenstein film, two clashing visions awkwardly smashed together. Critics tore it apart for its jumbled plot, thin characters, and a villain that looked like a rejected Power Rangers monster. Still, thanks to its killer marketing and that unforgettable Harley Quinn hype, it made $746 million. It was profitable, sure, but creatively, it was a mess. The DCEU was having an identity crisis, chasing Marvel's tone without really understanding what made it work.
Nice suit. Looking good, Flash.
Well, thank...
And you...
Man, just when you thought DC was doomed to fumble forever, they finally hit the jackpot. Wonder Woman came out swinging, bright, full of heart, and focused for once. Gal Gadot. She stole the show in BVS and then got to own it here. Patty Jenkins knew exactly what she was doing, keeping the story tight but still hitting you right in the feels. People showed up in droves, critics, fans, your grandma, everyone. 822 million. Boom. Suddenly, DC didn't have to drown everything in darkness or let their plots spiral into total nonsense. Instead, you got this blast of optimism, a badass female lead, and some real talk about love and compassion. It was fresh, honestly, not your usual DCEU gloomfest. And hey, this wasn't just a DC win. It was a huge step for representation and how superhero movies could tell stories that mattered. Gadot's Diana Prince was tough but not afraid to show some heart. Finally, a hero who could save the world and make you tear up a little. That no man's land scene? Legendary. You could practically feel the goosebumps in theaters. It was gutsy and inspiring, a moment that just stuck with you. Thanks to Wonder Woman smashing it, Warner Brothers suddenly had the guts to roll the dice on more women-led movies, and maybe, just maybe, consider not making everything so damn grim. For a hot second, it felt like DC had figured it out and found their star player.
Is this what conquering is? Hiding from the fight?
This was supposed to be DC's answer to the Avengers, but behind the scenes, things were falling apart fast. After a devastating personal tragedy, Zack Snyder stepped away from Justice League. Warner Brothers brought in Joss Whedon, yes, the guy behind Marvel's Avengers, to finish the job. But instead of blending visions, the studio forced a Frankenstein monster of a movie. Whedon rewrote, reshot, and recut massive chunks of the film. The result? A tonal disaster. Dark scenes clashed with awkward comedy. The story felt rushed, and let's not even talk about Superman's weird CGI lip. Thanks to Henry Cavill's Mission Impossible mustache. The film limped to $657 million at the box office, an embarrassing number for a movie featuring Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman together for the first time. Fans were furious. It wasn't just disappointing, it felt like betrayal. That's when the internet exploded with #ReleaseTheSnyderCut. For years, fans campaigned for Snyder's original vision, refusing to let WB off the hook. It became one of the most relentless fan movements in pop culture history, and eventually it paid off. Just when everyone had written the DCEU off, something unexpected happened. Aquaman blew up. Jason Momoa's underwater epic made a staggering $1.1 billion worldwide. It was flashy, fun, and visually insane. Director James Wan delivered a wild, colorful adventure that embraced comic book absurdity instead of running from it. Audiences loved the world building, from the 7 underwater kingdoms to the epic battle with ocean creatures. It felt like a fantasy blockbuster rather than a typical superhero flick. Finally, DC had a win again, or so it seemed. Then came Shazam, a lighthearted, small-scale superhero flick that leaned more into laughs than lore. It was a breath of fresh air, and critics enjoyed its charm. Zachary Levi's comedic timing, combined with the heartwarming foster family storyline, gave the DCEU something it desperately needed: relatability. But financially, it only made $367 million, not nearly enough to lift the franchise. It was praised but not powerful enough to steer the ship. Both films proved that DC could make solid, standalone movies. But the core issue remained. There was still no cohesive universe tying everything together. Characters popped in and out, references to past events felt vague or inconsistent, and the larger vision was missing. While Marvel built a web of interconnected heroes and arcs, DC seemed to hit restart with every film. Audiences were enjoying individual stories, but the bigger picture was still lost in the murky depths of the studio indecision. Man, 2021 was wild. Warner Brothers finally caved and dropped Zack Snyder's actual Justice League, like the one fans wouldn't shut up about for years. 4 hours long. 4 hours. That's a whole afternoon gone, but honestly, worth it. Way moodier than that Frankenstein's monster from 2017. Plus, the story made sense this time. Chalk that up as a win for Snyder and all those relentless fans. But here's the kicker. WB straight up said, "Look, this isn't canon. No sequels, no extended Snyderverse. Just this and we're out." Kind of brutal, right? Predictably, the fandom lost its mind. Half of them started chanting "Restore the Snyderverse" like it was a religion. The rest? They'd had enough drama. They just wanted something new. Anything new. Instead of fixing the mess, the Snyder Cut just put a spotlight on how chaotic the whole DCEU situation was. On screen, off screen, everywhere. Total circus. By 2022, the DCEU was on life support, and every new release just pushed it closer to the edge. First came Black Adam, Dwayne Johnson's passion project. He promised to change the hierarchy of power in the DC universe, but the only thing that changed was fan confidence. Despite massive marketing and The Rock's star power, it pulled in just $390 million, barely breaking even. Worse, it teased the return of Henry Cavill's Superman, only for DC to scrap that idea weeks later. Then came The Flash, which was supposed to reboot the entire timeline and kick off a fresh start. Instead, it became one of the biggest box office disasters in superhero history. With a $270 million budget, horrible CGI, confusing cameos, and no real payoff, the film crashed and burned hard. And finally, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom trickled into theaters. Despite the first film making over $1 billion, the sequel barely made $430 million. No buzz, no excitement, and no future. By the end of 2023, it was clear. The DCEU wasn't just broken, it was done.
It's a lot. Today, the Secretary of Defense said he was going to look into your actions.
Enter James Gunn. In 2023, DC Studios handed him the keys to the kingdom, and he wasted no time burning it all down. Instead of trying to fix the mess, Gunn announced a total reboot. A brand new universe, new actors, fresh stories, and most importantly, no rush to compete with Marvel. It's a clean slate, but will it work? Only time will tell. And that's the wild ride of the DCEU, an empire built on legends but crushed by chaos. If you love this breakdown, hit that like button, share it with your fellow DC fans, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite franchises. Catch you in the next one.